it's Jennifer from Flux. Welcome back to our 2021 Flux Summer Crochet Along. We are doing a really fun project. In fact, it's going to be a series of crochet projects that are a theme of a summer spa getaway. So we're going to make a whole bunch of things so you can have a home spa and really have fun with that. They also make lovely gifts. Any one of the projects that we make can be paired up with a spa product as well. So they make lovely gifts. Today, we are going to be making this gorgeous lacy headband. This is a really useful item to have because if you do a mask or any kind of product on your face, you could put this headband around your head and keep the hair off of your face in a really beautiful way. This is a really simple stitch. We've done this stitch before. It's like a closed shell stitch, and I thought it would be perfect and make a really pretty headband. We're going to be using some cotton yarn. We talked a little bit about that the first week of the crochet along, and I'll put the link down below for all the supplies. We are going to talk about the supplies later on in the video as well, but we're going to make this in a long strip and seam it. So it's super, super easy, and it's going to complement all of the other projects we're going to be making as well. The finished circumference of this one that I have here is 20 inches. Now, you can just make your strip longer or shorter before you seam if you need a different circumference. And then the width is about 2 inches. So it's not going to be hot like an earworm or anything like that. It's just going to be a lovely little simple headband to keep your hair back. So let's get started. For this project, you'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, a tape measure will be super helpful to get the circumference of your head. We're going to be using a 5mm H crochet hook for this and all the pieces in this spa collection for our summer CAL. This is my Furls Odyssey. I'll put the link down below if you'd like to get one for yourself as well. And then the yarn we're going to be using for this project, and again, every other project in our spa crochet along, is the Lion Brand 24/7 cotton. Today I'm going to be using 1 ball of the lilac, and honestly I'm not going to use the whole ball. We'll have some leftovers, and that will be great if you want to use it for some of the other projects in our series as well. So each ball of this is 186 yards, 3.5 ounces, 100 grams, 170 meters. It is a medium 4 on the yarn weight scale if you need to substitute. And I just wanted to point out that this recommends a 4mm G crochet hook, but we are going to go up to the 5mm H crochet hook for this project and also every other one in the series, just because spa items tend to get wet, and if we use a little bit bigger of a hook, I'm hoping it will open up the stitches and let everything dry a little bit nicer. So we are going to go up a hook size than the recommended one. And again, I'm going to be using the lilac yarn color. So let's get started. All right, I have my yarn and hook and we're ready to go. So let me just zoom way in so you can see what I'm doing here. We're going to make our headband first. We're going to make a long rectangle strip, and then we're going to join the ends together. Okay, so what we want to do is do our starting chain. Wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop. Bring the yarn behind the loop. There we go. Reach in with your hook, bring up the loop, and tighten. For our pattern, it is like a closed shell stitch. So what we're going to do is a multiple of 6 plus 1. So if you want a really narrow headband or really wide headband, we're kind of going to do a medium width. Just know that it's a multiple of 6 plus 1 if you need to change it. If you do need to change it and you're not familiar with multiples, just know for your starting chain, you do 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 and so forth, plus 1 more chain to get the width that you need. We are going to do a starting chain of 13, okay? So to make a chain, wrap the yarn around the hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So here's our starting chain, and you can kind of get an idea of the width, give or take, that we'll have. So if you do your starting chain and you want to add some more, just stay with that multiple of 6 plus 1, okay? So we just have a 2 rows here that we're going to do, and then you just repeat row 2 for the rest of your long rectangle that we're going to make. For row 1, we're going to work 2 double crochets in the 4th chain from the hook. So the loop here doesn't count. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in this chain here, we're going to work 2 double crochets. To make a double crochet, wrap the yarn around the hook, insert the hook into that chain, bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on the hook. Wrap yarn around the hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around the hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. Then we're going to work another double crochet into that same chain. And then what we're going to do is we're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and in the chain after that, we're going to work a single crochet. And then what we're going to do is skip 2 more chains, 1, 2, and in the chain after that, we're going to work 4 double crochets. So in that same chain, 4 double crochets. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet, and 4 double crochet. To finish up row 1, what we're going to do is we're going to skip 2 chains. So you'll have 3 chains left. You're going to skip 2 chains, and in that very last chain, what we're going to do is work a single crochet. So just work a single crochet in that last chain. Oh, and in case you don't know how to do a single crochet, insert the hook into that last chain, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops, just like that. So row 1 is complete, super easy. So for row 2, what we're going to do is chain 3. Now for row 2, like I mentioned before, this is the row where we will repeat for the rest of our headband. So for row 2, let's chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. Then we're going to locate that single crochet from the previous row. It's right here at the end, and we're going to work 2 double crochets into that single crochet. Okay, so 1 and 2. Right in that single crochet. Then what we're going to do is locate the center space of this shell. Remember this 4 double crochets that we did? That's one of our shells. So we're going to look for the middle of that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets, and you can kind of pull them apart and look at them. We're going to go in the space in the middle of that. Okay, so make sure there's 2 on this side and 2 on this side, and in that space right there, work a single crochet right into the space. Okay, just like that. Then what we're going to do is look for the single crochet in between this fan that we just worked and the sort of half fan at the end of the row. So see that single crochet there? What we're going to do is work 4 double crochets into that single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just like that. And you can kind of see how they're sort of like sitting down in the previous row, if you will. Okay, so then what we're going to do is when we get to the end of the row here, that's turning chain space. See it on the side here? We're just going to work a single crochet into that turning chain space. And that is row 2. So for the rest of your little headband, you're just going to keep repeating. You can kind of straighten things out if you want. You just want to repeat row 2 over and over and over. So let's do one more together. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, we're just repeating row 2 together. Turn your work, and then in that first little single crochet you see at the beginning of the row, work 2 double crochets in there. 1 and 2. Just like that. Then you're going to locate the middle of the fan. Remember, there's going to be 2 double crochets on this side, 2 on this side, and then that space right there, work a single crochet. Just like that. And then look for the single crochet from the previous row right there. And you're going to work 4 double crochets into that single crochet. Let me get a little bit more yarn. My yarn ball is kind of creeping over. So that was 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, same thing we did before. And then we're going to hop over to the end of the row here and locate that turning chain space. Work a single crochet right into that turning chain space, okay? So we saw it twice now. So what you're going to do is just keep repeating row 2. You can back up the video or, whoops, my hook's rolling away. You can back up the video or do slow motion as many times as you like to see this over and over and over again. You can sort of straighten it up as you go. So keep going. I pre-measured and I'm going to make mine 20 inches long to go around my head. You can measure your head or whoever, if you're giving it to someone, you can measure their head, or as you're working, simply just put it right on your head to see how long you need it to be. So just keep going with row 2 over and over and over again, and we're going to rejoin in just a minute and I'll show you how to finish off your headband. Just working that very last stitch. And we are done the crochet part of our lovely headband. So what we're going to do now is seam it together. Grab a pair of scissors and we're going to cut a nice long tail. I would say about 24 inches or so. Then once you've cut the tail, put your hook back in there and we're going to fasten off. Wrap the yarn around the hook and then just bring that tail all the way through. Okay, so for your headband, we have a tail. We're going to go ahead and weave that tail in now so we can get it out of the way. So grab your tapestry needle, go ahead and weave your tail in. Try to go, because this is reversible, try to go in between the plies of the yarn through the middle, not letting it show on either side. Okay, come in one direction and then come back in the other direction. Then you can give it a little tug and trim that tail with your scissors. Okay, so for the other end, what we're going to do, we have our nice long tail we're going to use to seam. And I always, as you can see here, it's pretty long. I like to give myself a lot of extra just in case. Yeah. So we just need to seam this up. It's super easy. And we're going to thread our needle. And then we're going to hold these two edges together nice and neat. Now, you may notice this was our starting edge, so it has some chains and some loops. And then, actually, let me zoom in so you can see better. And then our edge where we just finished is going to have some scallops. So the edges will be a little bit irregular and uneven, but just try to line things up along the sides as much as possible. So all we're going to do is whip stitch it. That's just a spiral through your work. It makes a nice invisible seam. So go ahead and go into a little bit off to the side here, because when you seam two pieces of crochet or knitting or what have you together like this, a lot of times the edges are rounded, and so it'll look like this when it comes together. You'll have like a dip in your work. So just come off to the side a little bit and it'll alleviate some of that. So go in, make your first stitch just like that, and now just go all the way across with your tapestry needle. Go in both layers, make sure you're in both layers of your work. Go in to the first ones and then go into the next stitches. You can sort of line up the stitches and keep it lined up as you go. And because we're using the tail, it's going to be the same color as our work, and so it will blend and be nice and invisible. Okay, so we're just going to go all the way across with our needle. And just take your time, make sure you're incorporating both layers. You don't want to have any big holes. And then what I like to do too is turn my work right side out as I seam and just make sure it's nice and neat looking. It's much easier to pull things out now before you get too far along and things aren't looking the way you want them to. So just keep going all the way across with your work. And I meant to say this before, and I did say it at the beginning of the video for the circumference, but I made my strip 20 inches long. You may need to change that, give or take, after you measure the circumference that you need, but I went for 20 inches. And it is fairly stretchy, so you have a little bit of wiggle room there. All right, now I'm at the end, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come in the side here a little bit and put a little stitch in the side. Now don't pull that last stitch, don't pull it all the way through. Leave yourself a little loop and then take your needle and go back into that loop, and when you pull it, it'll create a knot. And because this is a wearable, You want it to be hardworking. So you'll be using it and taking it on and off. So just put another little knot right in there, okay? Now, while it's inside out, because this is the inside of our seam, while everything's inside out, what we're gonna do is weave in the ends. Okay, so go ahead and go in one direction. I see a little lacy decorative hole, so I'm gonna sort of like bridge over that a little bit. We're gonna go in one direction with our tail. Just kind of go way up in there and then come back in the other, come back in the other direction with your tail just to sort of help lock that into place. And pull through and then grab your scissors and then just give it a little snip. And your headband is complete. So get your seam nice and neat and then you can turn it right side out and we have this gorgeous lacy headband. So let me just zoom out so you can see it a little better. Now this, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is wonderful for if you're doing a spa treatment like a mask, or if you're applying some kind of facial product. You can get your hair right out of your face, and it's not only is it super handy and washable, but it's beautiful as well. So that is how you crochet the spa headband. Now, before you go, be sure and hop on over to our Ravelry group and our Facebook group. You can share what you're working on. You can ask about colors. You can see what other people are doing and get all the latest updates. So I'll put the links down below for that as well. If you've missed any of the projects, hop on over to the blog and you can see all the other projects and get links to those as well. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.